Good morning, everybody. Namaste. So, what are we going to talk about today? One thing I felt there was, particularly with the last session, there was a question by, I don't remember who was it, if it was Rafael or somebody else. I think it was Rafaela. They said, well, I have a problem tuning into my center, feeling my center. And she was referring to her hara center, her belly center. So I want to say something about what are we referring to when we say your center? Because it can be a little confusing because this word is used a lot. There are different centers. So when we say this center, we have to be more specific what we're talking about. Of course, in the body, there are many energy centers. More or less, we know that the center of intellect is expressed through the mind, and it's pretty much perceived in the head, isn't it? We know that the feelings and the emotions are somewhere perceived between the stomach, solar plexus, and the heart. We know it's very tangible and easy to perceive where sexual energy is, because it's where the sexual organs are. So that's no doubt. And the belly is maybe the most, in a way, a little bit obscure or most hidden and the most profound. It's like the center is buried deep into our guts, isn't it? Literally, it's in our guts. So, of course, I share also the knowledge that I acquired from my master. So I do remember him specifically saying, well, there are 3 levels of awareness. You can be aware of your thoughts, which are in your head, right, as we said. And they are one of the most obvious things because they're very much like, okay, close your eyes, or even without closing your eyes, you just see this chattering mind going, right? And he said, okay, you have to witness that. And then slowly through with the witnessing process, you disidentify. And through the disidentification, you can transcend it or detach from it. Yeah, maybe it's still there, but you have no involvement with it anymore. Okay, first level. And then he said there are feelings, and that are perceived mostly through the heart, which are deeper and more subtle than thoughts. But you have to eventually go past those as well, transcend those too, because really consciousness is, when consciousness is emptied of any content. So that means there are no thoughts, but also there are no feelings, there are no emotions. Then, only then, he said, consciousness becomes like the surface of a lake that is completely still. There's not even a ripple. And then it can reflect the full moon, right? Or the sun and the clouds like a mirror. Then consciousness becomes a mirror that reflects what is, reflects reality in a very pure way, without any interpretation, without any filtering, therefore without any ripples on the surface. It's just like, wow, perfect, clear mirror without a speck of dust. So that when consciousness is that still, that empty, it means, of any content, then it reflects what is in its full glory. And so he said, and then the third layer, so you have to go past the feelings and go in your guts, and that's, we go from thinking to feeling to being, he said. And so from the head to the heart to the belly, he divided in these 3 layers. So then, referring to this description, of course, again, the belly is the deepest. If we filter what we perceive through our head, we know we're just analyzing, conceptualizing reality through our mind. That doesn't do anything. The mind is not made to perceive reality with a capital R. It's made to perceive the relative reality, which is the world. The world of forms. The society is the way it works. The interrelation between human beings. That is, the mind is made for that, and it's good for that. But you cannot use it to penetrate the deepest core of your essence. It's not made for that. It cannot. So feelings are a deeper level, a deeper layer, and they are also in a way more real because they're more connected also with the physicality of the body. And the body is always in the present moment, as we said. But still, we need to go past that too, deeper than that. So to use the belly center, it seems to be, is the way that it connects the fastest to a deeper layer in ourselves. Also, as you have experienced already, when you breathe into your belly, you feel a sense of settleness, something settled. It's like suddenly it's like, it's like you're grounding yourself in the present moment more easily, right? So again, we use the body as an entry point into the moment, the present moment. We have to start, as we already mentioned, from what is most obvious, solid. So form, we start from the body. So we use the body as an entry point to keep us in the present moment and connect with our essence. Now, our essence, so if we want to define our center as our essence, then obviously our essence is not corporeal, is not form, it's formless. Our essence it's our soul, it's our consciousness. It cannot have form. If it had form, we would have just grasp it and say, oh, here it is, it's obvious, It's not obvious. It's the realm of formless, subtle perceptions. But we need to first ground ourselves into the physical body. There is no way we can move into the realm of formless without having embodied the form. That's why we are in a physical body on this planet. Otherwise, we would be a soul floating around, in pure consciousness. Well, we are that, but we are that in a body, and there is a reason for that. So we have to start from what is the most obvious, the most accessible to us. And the body is wondrous because it's always present. Yeah, as we said, unlike the mind. So when I refer your belly as your center, I maybe should define it as your gravitational center. Maybe that's one way to define it. Or your physical center. So it's the deepest part in your physical form that you can connect to your beingness, which also represents your subconscious. So it also represents bringing light, bringing consciousness to the subconscious where there is darkness, and transform it. Transform the subconscious into conscious through bringing light to what is in the basement. So, for example, in the last session, in the case with Rafaela, she said, well, I have difficulties connecting with that part of me, but in reality, when I do, I feel there is a resistance, or there is maybe a little fear or something, right? So beautiful. So there is something there, to make an example, that has been pushed down because at a certain point we couldn't deal with it. It was like, whoa, this is too much. I don't want to feel it now. Push it down, So it's there waiting to be experienced. It doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, that's how the subconscious keeps affecting our life without us realizing it. So the more we become aware, the more we are able actually to allow ourselves to drop into our belly. We also connect with something deeper and are able slowly to bring light in the part that is, we call it subconscious, and integrate it. So eventually, why do they call it enlightenment? Enlightenment means that all part of you has been united and none of them is in the darkness. They are enlightened. There is just light. So there is consciousness. Let's call consciousness and light. Let's put them together. Consciousness has enveloped your whole being and lit up all the darkest corner of our being, have been integrated, accepted, and illuminated. Yeah, that's what enlightenment is. So it's work. It's working on ourselves through the work of mindfulness and meditation. We bring that light to our whole being. So we use the body as a tool to do this kind of work as well. But if we talk about the center as your essence, then of course we cannot say, oh, your essence is that center of your being is just in there, because it's not located anywhere. If anything, we can say the witness is your center. Your witnessing consciousness is your essence. But we are a double phenomenon. We are form and we are formless. So we cannot disregard one or the other. We're both. So first we integrate all that we can integrate in the form. First we become aware as much as we can of everything that is related to this form. in this form, there are various energy centers. Yeah, I'm not an expert in chakra system, but I think everybody has enough understanding to know what I'm talking about. But yes, eventually moving in your true center means you even disidentify from the body at a certain point. That something happens or can happen where you start perceiving, okay, this is my body and there is energy moving, good. And there is subtle, more and more subtle perceptions until you also perceive both. You perceive the formless and the form. They are together in this human experience. So I don't know if this helps or it makes it more confusing, but I felt like I needed to mention that because there can be a little bit of a confusion. What is what? And another thing I want to say is that don't get confused with the fact that the ego is something bad and that, we should get rid of it. Because the egoic self is necessary to live in this world. It's very necessary. And so as we have it, we might as well use it. Because if you don't use it, and if you didn't have it when you grew up, you would have been crashed, because we're living in an egoic reality. We're living in a world that is just ego. So if you have no ego and you're just an innocent little baby that comes out of your mother's belly and then grows up without an ego, you won't survive. You might survive physically, maybe, but you won't survive psychologically or energetically. You're gonna be crashed by all the other egos. So the ego is a protection, actually. So it needs to be used. So we have to be very careful not to get into some kind of new age spiritual ideas that, I float with life and I don't need to worry. I trust everything. Yeah, okay, that's a nice concept. But hey, when you need to live in the world, you better be present and you better use your understanding and your ego and your mind. Yeah, don't be new age, naive, spiritual woo-woo because it doesn't help anything. Yeah. So when we relate with the world, we use our ego. That's made for that. When we relate with the inner temple, we drop the ego, we let it go. That's you want to use it. I would say, don't be stupid. If you don't use it, I would tell you, don't be stupid. It's made for that, It's like you have an electric drill to make a hole in the wall, but you choose to make it with a screwdriver instead. Why? You have a wonderful electric drill. Use it to make a hole. No, don't use a screwdriver. It's going to take forever and it's not going to be a nice hole anyway. So use the right tool for the right tasks, right? So don't use the ego to try to go into your beingness. That doesn't work. And don't use your beingness to deal with the world. That doesn't work either. You see? So I want to make sure that these spiritual ideas are they can create belief systems that do not help you in any way. They don't help you in the world, and they don't help you in your meditation. So understand that there is the right place for all these different dimensions, and apply what is needed in the right moment, in the right situation. So when we sit, yes, when we sit, we say, well, okay, we watch the mind and we realize, boy, this mind is taking a lot of the space. And we feel it that when it stops, it's like, oh, here it is. Here I am. Here I am. You start perceiving your being, right? I'm just here. There's nothing happening. How wonderful. There's a sense of peace, relief, presence. That happens because the mind is stopped for a moment or many moments, whatever it is. And so we can perceive the inner space. We can perceive consciousness. We can perceive being. We can feel more. We can perceive more. So the mind sucks a lot of that subtle energy that we need actually when we go inside. But we cannot, just because of that, then say that the mind is not useful in other situations. So when we go out to deal with the world, we want to use our mind. It doesn't mean that when we connect with people, we cannot also connect through the heart. Sure, we can. We have to. But again, don't use your heart when there is a situation that requires just your mind. You know, we have to feel what's happening in this moment. You know, what am I dealing with? Is there, maybe you want to just be in your heart, but this person is closed like a wall of bricks. You know, there's no space to enter. So you have to deal with it differently. There are other situations where you have to set your boundaries very clear in the world. Otherwise, people, they just invade it. So it's important that you don't feel like, oh, I'm being selfish, or I'm being too rigid. But sometimes you need to be selfish and you need to be rigid. And you need to set boundaries very clearly, or you're going to be trashed. So be careful, not to create spiritual ideals that are eventually turning against you. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Somebody has any questions about it? Any extra thoughts? Yeah. Nicole.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So, if I understand you correctly, if you uh, uh, if you want to go to your Hara center, like your being center, it doesn't have to your the way you stand or the way you sit doesn't matter. How your body is, how you don't need a special posture to take on to go to your being, to your Hara center.
Yeah, it's true. You don't need, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter in what position you are to perceive your center. It's correct.
Right.
Said that, again, if we work through the body, like we work when we sit, in a way, we work through the body as well. When we sit and meditate, just because the body is not moving doesn't mean we're not using it, right? We are perceiving it from inside, so we're using it a lot. It's our main anchor. All the senses, we use the senses as an anchor. The senses are just part of the body, right? We perceive energy sometimes moving through the body. So it's true that if, for example, if you lie down to meditate, it's much more likely that you're going to fall asleep, right? So again, what does a situation need in order to achieve what I want to achieve, which is I want to stay awake and present as much as I can, then I don't lie down, right? And I want to, feel relaxed, then I don't stand on my head in a yoga posture while I meditate, because it's too much effort. It's too unnatural. I want to be relaxed. So it's true what you said, but also it's not.
You
In a
don't want
sense.
to strengthen your body.
Pardon me?
You don't want to have strength in your body, like
Effort.
some
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
No.
You want to relax the body. So you want to choose a position where you're as relaxed as possible and at the same time as awake and present as possible. That's why you don't lie down. Lying down gives you a lot of relaxation, but also it's easy to lose consciousness and go to sleep. Right?
Yeah. The reason that I was asking, because I asked you last week how I have to stand when
Yes.
I do the massage. So that's why I was like, okay,
Yes.
when I have to urge my back to be straight, you have an effort to make, and then it's more difficult to go to your being.
Well, I tried what you told me, and I actually had the opposite experience than you.
All right.
It was
Okay.
easier
So,
for me to feel my belly. So I
really?
don't know. Yeah.
But
So I'm not
to
sure.
make effort on your back, then it was easier for you to go into
It
your.
was, I don't know if it was an effort, but I tried both the positions. And I mean, when I was leaning a little bit forward, it was easier to feel my belly. I don't know. So I think it's something you need to play with it. It's your body, it's not my body. And see what works best and find find how do you feel the most comfortable working. And again, choose the right tool for the right task. So choose the right position for what you need to do in every sense. Yeah, and it's a little bit an individual exploration, no? Everybody, for example, sits in a little different way. Some people can have very open hips and they can, do lotus posture, or they're used because they're, born in India or wherever, where people always sit cross-legged. And for a Westerner, where they've been growing up sitting on a chair, to sit cross-legged is like, oh my God, how am I going to keep my back straight? How am I going to, my hips are not open enough, my knees are hurting. So find what works for you, where there's not too much effort, and yet you achieve that relaxed, very relaxed, and at the same time, very present state through your body as well. So everybody has to find its way. But whatever way you find, you look for something that allows you to be relaxed and awake and present. Even when you're in movement, even when you give a massage, it's the same, no? Find your way for that, what works best. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. No, you're welcome. Thank you for asking. Okay. Shall we sit together? So now find a comfortable position to sit where you can relax and yet being awake and present. Use a chair if you need. Sit on the floor if you like. If you use a chair, you can also, like I'm doing right now, I usually sit on the floor on the cushion, but here in my office, I have to sit on a chair, which is not my favorite thing to meditate on a chair. But here I do because I have to. So I put a little pillow in my lower back. So I don't actually lean back. So I want to try to keep more or less a 90 degrees angle between my legs and my back. If you sit on the floor, or try to make sure that your hips are higher than your knees, if you can. So you put a little pillow under your butt to raise your butt. In other words, it helps to keep your back straight. And even if your eyes are still open, just start feeling your body. Feel the body from inside. And then when you're ready, close your eyes. Adjust if you need to. Feel comfortable. Yeah, just start feeling the whole body. Relaxing any part that is still a little bit holding. Just bring your awareness there and let go. Perceiving how the more you relax, the more you feel the weight of the body on the chair or on the floor, on the cushion. Most of your weight will be on your butt cheeks. And feel if you are putting more weight on the left or on the right. And if so, try to have equal distribution of the weight between the two parts, so that your gravitational axis is in the middle. Let your sacrum drop, relax, drop towards the earth. And slowly grounding into the earth as you relax more and more. Letting go into the earth. Perceiving at the same time a little tug, a little pull upward from the top of the head. Or if you can't feel it, you can imagine it. Like pulled by a thread that attaches to the top of your head. Very, very, very subtle, but helps your neck and spine to align. You might want to keep your chin slightly down to help that alignment of the neck. And just finding the balance between earth and sky and relax into it. Just letting go. Knowing that this time is just to be here. There's nothing else to do, nothing to reach, nothing to achieve, just being. When we say just being, we mean we are available to perceive everything that is experienced in the present moment. Because our beingness, our natural relaxed state of being is a witnessing consciousness that is aware of everything that is observed and perceived. So just trust that you can let go into that. Witnessing consciousness. You are embodying it in this very moment. the sound keep you in the present moment or bring you back to the present moment. Slowly coming back to the group. Okay. So we open the space if there is some sharing that wants to happen. Yeah, Maria.
I was far away from the lake, which is very, very still, no movement. It was just like a ball jumping from mind to heart to center. And there were pictures and colors, and I saw me as a little girl, wishing to be radiant, and I had a Barbie puppet, and there were a lot of dresses, and these dresses were, for me, it was like the world.
Mhm.
And then it was like a transformation into this the color of these dresses. They were in me, and I was in this color, and I became radiant. And it was a lot of movement.
Yeah.
And there was a short moment I felt um, hold. I felt like a small piece of the whole world.
Mm.
And it was a very touching moment.
Mm.
Yes, and then it jumped again up. Yes, was a very touching experience. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, lots of movement, huh? Yeah, but that's good. It's okay. Yeah, we also have to be sure, no, that we don't fix ourselves with the idea, oh, I should feel stillness. You know, I should feel like that lake, that it's like a mirror, you know. That if it happens almost by grace. It happens by itself, not because we're looking for it. So the way to come to that stillness, it might be exactly through what you describe, for example, in your case. So there might be a lot of movement that is needed. You are experiencing a lot. And for some people can be visual, for some people can be auditory, for some people can be neither, you know. For some people might be just an understanding, you know, but it's all part of the process that we are experiencing in this moment. And as long as we stay aware and we stay present with anything that we experience, we process whatever needs to be processed. And maybe at the end of the process, there is stillness, you know, maybe not, but it doesn't matter. What's important that we are present with what we're experiencing. and we don't make a big deal about it. You know, if a lot happens or if nothing happens, it's both good. It's just different. Yeah. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Sometimes can be very entertaining when there is a lot happening. Yeah. And other times it might just be like, wow, so much silence and space and nothing is happening. Beautiful. That's beautiful too. Can you rest into that? Can you rest into that space where nothing is happening? So experience whatever you existence is giving you in that moment. If it's a lot happening, then experience a lot. And if it's nothing happening, experience nothingness. Yeah. Yeah, Mickey.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Destro, can I read something?
Okay.
It's something that I jotted down in one of my little books.
Okay.
And I don't know where it came from, but when you talked earlier, it reminded me of this. It's a conversation between the mind, the heart, and the soul. A little conversation. So the mind says, I'm worried. And the heart responded, just relax. And the mind said, but I'm totally lost now. And the heart said, just follow me. And then the mind responded, but you've never been there before. And the heart responded, trust me, you'll love it. And the soul responded, if you two would shut up, I'd show you the map. And then I also followed with, I don't know where I got this from. The mind desires approval, it wants to be heard. The heart desires acceptance and understanding, it wants to be seen. And the soul's desire is simple, it is content just to be.
Beautiful.
I just wanted to share that, it reminded me.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Mickey. It is like this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Rafaela.
At the beginning, I had a lot of feelings because I am in a difficult situation with my son and with my ex-husband, and there was a lot of sadness, anger, but a lot of sadness. And I go through because I'm feeling like
Entangle.
yeah.
Entanglement.
Yeah, and I don't want it, but like this. And it was a lot of sadness to accept it, to accept my disappointment. And I don't know if it's the mind of the earth, I don't know, but I was understanding a lot, or the sensing a lot by myself. And then I didn't, and then I was trying to breathe here, in the belly.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the leg, but I could just feel energy, but strong, quiet energy. And all the things around and nothing done. Just, but it's not a lake, it's life. I don't know what is it. It's energy from here, and it's 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 not this quiet, but I'm centered and I'm feeling not a little girl, but I'm feeling my strongness.
Yeah, a strong woman as you are.
And how difficult is it to take the responsibility of this?
Yes.
Sometimes it's easier to.
Oh, I'm a little girl.
Yeah.
Be nice with me.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, when we are in that center in the belly, it can bring a lot of sense of power. We feel very solid and grounded and like a mountain. Yeah. Sometimes when I go there, sometimes there's so much energy that I want to scream. but I don't always do. Oftentimes I don't. But the feeling is like, wow, there's a lot. And then it's beautiful. Yeah, so you feel powerful too. It's true. There's a lot of energy there. And yet to have the courage to take the responsibility to be that, it's true. It takes a little courage too, especially if the ego, the personality is used to identify with a certain image of yourself, like, oh, I'm delicate, or I need help, or I'm just like a nice girl, or whatever, And suddenly it's like, wow, Kali energy is like, I'm here. This is me, you're like a volcano. You're not like a little sand mole anymore. Yeah. Good. Sounds good. Wonderful. Yeah. And to have the courage to let the whole world go in that moment too, and feel like, I love everybody and I love you all, but I don't need to be entangled with you. It doesn't mean I don't love you. I love you. And here I am. This is me. This is my space. This is my center. So have the courage to separate in that sense, to accept that there is a separation. It doesn't mean we don't connect through the heart. But we're not entangled. We're mindfulness and meditation are a path to individuality. So it's a path from personality to individuality. Big difference. Opposite. Personality will find always a compromise, will always look for ways that, I can fit in, or I'm gonna do this so I can get that, or whatever. But the more we go towards individuality, the more awareness comes in, the more we settle in our center, the more we become individual. So you're not a persona anymore, a personality, you're an individual, which is powerful and free. So very different. So our work is really that, from personality to individuality. Yes. Thank you for sharing that, Rafaela.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? that wants to be shared? Mickey?
I want to share something, but I don't know if I'll be able to put it into words. I'll try.
Try.
After last week's session, I was in a really good space. It was the whole week I was very zen, or felt very zen, and it was as if I felt, how can I put this, like a verticality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's the world happening around me.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive, so I sometimes allow that to penetrate me, and it upsets my energy and my equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
And this week, nothing of that. It felt like there's a light shining in me,
Mm.
and I got a lot done. I put 3 big projects online, which was really a big thing for me. But it felt like I was doing nothing. It was
Mm-hmm.
easy. Also, to be honest, I meditated longer, and although it took more time in my day, I got so much more done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So describing exactly what I felt and how I felt during the week is difficult, because it's like I know how I feel,
You
but
did pretty well. We got a clear picture.
yeah, I can't put it into words.
Oh,
But
that was
thank you
good.
so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's really wonderful, these sessions. It's life changing, and I'm very, very grateful for it.
Mm.
For being in a group as well, because I think the comments of other people last week contributed to what I experienced afterwards. So thank you to everyone. It's really fantastic.
Exactly. That's the beauty of the Sangha, that people share, and then it's like, oh, yeah. And then something becomes more clear and new because something that somebody else shared, because you realize, oh, I also feel like that. Or, oh, yeah, that helps me understand something in me too, or whatever, but we reflect and support each other and stimulates each other. It's a beautiful thing. And yes, I like what you said, that the concept of time, no, it's very fluid. Sometimes you think, okay, I meditate more, but then I have less time because I sit more maybe. But then you realize that you are in a state where time actually feels like, oh, I have plenty of time to do everything. It's like, wait a second. On the clock, I have less time, but actually I feel like I get more done. It's like I have more time because I'm more present, right? So every second counts more because there is more presence. And then you're doing, it doesn't carry any tension. So that's a beautiful feeling too, no? That's what we call wu wei, which is effortless action. So you are in meditation, but even though you move, you do things with your body, you're still in a space of meditation. So mindfulness in movement, we could say, in Chinese, they call it wu wei. It's beautiful.
And also that almost exaggerated feeling of everything being so beautiful.
That happens too.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things. I had the feeling I'm seeing it for the first time.
Right.
It's like discovering what my eyes see, what all my senses touch and taste and hearing.
Yes, because there's more awareness. Yeah. So your eyes are more clear. Of course, you're watching the same thing, but they look very different because you can see them better.
Yes.
Your eyes are cleared.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I also felt that my little art studio is very small. And suddenly, this week, it felt big. It felt beautiful and big. And I looked at it and, wow, I'm so lucky to have art studio. It's fantastic.
So much space. Look.
Of space. And I good. So,
Great.
thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. Anything else? Okay, so we close it here. And take your time to be with yourself every day, anytime you can. Either you're sitting or you're moving, doesn't matter. Bring presence, whatever you do. That's all that matters. And then your eyes will be clear, and then you'll feel like you have much more time in the day and you get more accomplished. And you enjoy life more. That's the secret. Yeah. Okay, and I'll see you next Friday. Kisses, hugs. Namaste, everybody.